So I see a lot of these why I'm no longer vegan videos popping up in my recommended list, and of course I'm triggered, but in honor of my 6-year vegan anniversary, I thought I'd make a video explaining why I'm still vegan. I've noticed a common trait among these videos. These people are claiming that they're suffering from some sort of health problem, and they list a bunch of symptoms like brain fog, fatigue, hair loss, whatever it is, and they're attributing these symptoms to their vegan diet. Of course, this is entirely anecdotal. They'll typically ramble on about intuitive eating and the importance of listening to your body, rarely citing any sources. It is scientific consensus that a well-planned vegan diet is suitable for all people at all stages of life, and I've linked an article in my description box. It's the official position of the American Dietetic Association, which is the largest body of nutrition professionals in the world. So if you're going to trust someone, are you going to trust some random person on the internet or the largest body of nutrition professionals in the world? I'm going to go with that one. I linked this article in all of my videos because I want to stress the importance of this message that all essential nutrients can be found in non-animal sources. So yes, this includes B12, it comes from bacteria, you can take a supplement. Vitamin D comes from the sun, again, you can take a supplement. And everything else you need, calcium, iron, protein, these are all found in the plant kingdom. Okay, there's no reason to eat animal products. You don't need animal products, it's scientific consensus, it's not my opinion. If you think of foods in their whole form, chicken, eggs, fish, yogurt. I just listed like 4 things. There's thousands and thousands of other foods. If you don't need soy to survive, if you don't need potatoes, you don't need bananas, spinach, you don't even need fruit, an entire category of food. Like, you can survive without eating any fruit. Now, fruit is obviously healthy. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat fruit, but you don't need it. So what makes you think that you need chicken? Why do you need eggs? Why? Now, obviously there are qualities of these foods that you do need. You need an adequate balance of protein, carbohydrates, fats, and make sure you're eating foods that contain all of the essential nutrients. But here's something that a lot of people don't seem to understand. Meat is not a macronutrient. Let's take eggs for example. Eggs are something that most people think are a nutritious health food. They contain protein and B vitamins. Okay, they also contain a frick ton of cholesterol and saturated fat. Fish as well. Fish, yes, they contain those essential fatty acids, omega-3s. Cool, they also contain friggin' mercury and saturated fat and cholesterol. And our oceans are depleted. So why would you choose something that is horrendously damaging to the environment, cruel to animals, and will raise your cholesterol levels, when you could just eat beans and walnuts and sprinkle some flaxseed in your smoothies? Like, it's not that complicated. One thing that absolutely baffles me is that people think they need dairy, like the milk of another species. Why would we need that? Why? It makes no logical sense. Some people will claim that they're simply following the advice of their doctor, but they don't disclose who this doctor is. They could be seeing a naturopath whose advice isn't exactly backed by evidence. You also have to understand that general practitioners are not nutritionists. Yes, they're very well trained in whatever it is that they do, but they could be completely ignorant to the field of nutrition. From my experience studying nutrition in college, it wasn't my major, but I did take a nutrition course. Most registered dietitians would agree with me, but of course some won't. And that's just a fact of life. There's always going to be a handful of people that slip through the cracks and pass their higher ed courses while still maintaining scientifically inaccurate views. I mean, they're Christian biologists, so. I went to the doctor a couple months ago to get some blood work done, And my experience was positive. I told my doctor I was vegan. He wasn't concerned at all. He was actually, gave me the thumbs up. But my blood work results came back and everything was stellar. My levels of zinc, calcium, iron, the nutrients of concern that people associate with vegan diets were all perfectly adequate. I was, however, insufficient in vitamin D, so not technically deficient, but my doctor recommended that I take a supplement. Now, keep in mind, this is a non-vegan doctor who's directing me to take a supplement. He's not even floating the idea of eating animal products as an alternative. He's telling me, take a supplement. This is probably because if you have a deficiency in something, you're going to need a relatively high amount of that nutrient to make up for your deficiency. I don't understand why people are opposed to supplementation. Like, we live in modern society. You can't make appeals to nature while you participate and accept, all these modern conveniences, modern medicine. Well, these people don't always accept modern medicine, but you get my point. Just don't act like swallowing a pill or chewing a gummy or spritzing some spray on your tongue is just so inconvenient. It's not. It's pretty freaking simple. Now, I understand that everybody's different. People do have different nutritional needs, but that's not to say that they can't be vegan. Any specific health condition you have that requires a more restrictive diet, you can modify a plant-based diet to meet your specific needs. And if you're struggling with absorption issues, just go to a doctor that's sympathetic to your desire to be vegan and get it sorted out. I'm not an expert, but I have read that a lot of times absorption issues can stem from an imbalanced microbiome. So if you're eating a lot of processed foods, you may not have the right gut bacteria that are necessary to absorb certain nutrients. I think a big part of the issue is that people have these wild expectations that when they go vegan, all of their health problems are going to disappear and their skin is going to clear up and they're going to have so much energy. And we just can't have these expectations. Of course, diet is so fundamental, but it's not the only factor that's influencing our health and well-being. There are so many other tiers of health, like exercise and positive social relationships, stress management, sleep, that are going to have an impact on our mental health and our energy levels. Not to mention all the toxic shit in our environment from poorly regulated industries. It could be friggin' mold or radon that's affecting your health. We just don't know. This is why it's important to seek professional help and maybe get a second and third opinion. We need to start thinking holistically and trusting peer-reviewed medical science, scientific consensus, rather than being so convinced by personal anecdotes on the internet. Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there and social pressures that lead people astray, even people who once identified as ethical vegans. That's why I think it's so important to drive home the message that going vegan is not going to solve all of your problems. It's not going to solve all of the world's problems. But if you look at the data, vegans do have better overall health outcomes, and these are cross-sectional analyses that factor in other lifestyle habits like smoking and exercise. A vegan diet is not going to create any unique health problems that omnivores just don't have to worry about. My guess is that the real reason people are falling off the wagon is because they're losing sight of why it's so important to be vegan. They feel that they don't need to watch documentaries like Earthlings or Dominion because it just makes them sad. They're already vegan, I don't want to watch it because it'll just make me sad. But it's so important to continuously reinforce this stance that you're taking for animal liberation because these victims, these animals are voiceless and they need someone to speak up for them. And watching footage that's hard to watch will motivate you to go out there and be active. And that's a huge benefit of activism. You're surrounding yourself with a community of like-minded people that are fighting for a common goal. And having that sense of community is so vital to that feeling of fulfillment in life. When people don't have very many vegan friends, it's so much easier for them to slip back into feeling apathetic. In conclusion, do sufficient research, make any adjustments to your diet that you need if whatever you're doing isn't working for you. And remember that veganism is not a diet, it is an ethical position, and animals do not have a political voice. They need us to speak up for them. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to help me spread this message far and wide, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below and share it with your friends.
Yo, how when me eat them, I wonder when me eat. When me tell them say me nah eat no fish, nah no meat now. How when me eat them, I wonder when me yam. When me tell them say that I'm a vegan man. How when me eat them, I wonder when me eat. When me tell them say me nah eat no fish, nah no meat now.